can feel the tension in the air as we move into race day here at Monaco. It's a track that requires the full concentration of the drivers with zero margin for error. It tests their skills to the absolute limits, so no wonder it remains a fan favourite. We're on the French Riviera once more this weekend at the 2-mile-long Circuit de Monaco. The cars will climb around 40 metres up the hill, past the casino, and then descend downwards towards the harbour through Sector 2. It's a very short run from pole position to the first of the 19 corners at Saint-Devote, and don't expect to see much overtaking here today.
Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League Formula 2 tier round number 8 at Monte Carlo, the jewel of the calendar, brought to you in association with gridfinder.com, Nelco Hall and Grid Rival. So here's confirmation of your grid. Ivan Belov starts on pole position from Smoke, FX44. Row 2 is Ginger Tiger and Cool132. Row 3 is JSP and Keza. Row 4, Joe Hamster and Nitrogash. Row 5 is Kuipers and Mr. Sten. Row 6, Simon Palmer and Tadelli. Row 7 is Still BL66 and Russman 88. Whilst on the back, and final row of row 8 is MV Ball and Tarak 05. So look out for the top 4. Whoever gets the best start out of those guys will probably lead coming out of Saint-Devote. So that's interesting. So it's a dry start, so everyone will be on the dry tyres to begin with, and it's going to go to wet. So look for those outside the top 10 to be starting on mediums to try and stretch that first stint so they don't have to pit before the wet period. So depending on when this rain comes, could be quite interesting for strategy. So as the drivers will be sorting out their strategies. And we go ahead for the formation lap. Ivan Belov leading the way. .39 laps, so about 78 miles of driving to ensue in what will be changeable conditions. The biggest thing here will be who's on what tyres, and Tadelli, Steelbiel and Russman have gone the way I would have done right now if you're outside the top 10, and they've gone mediums. They're looking to basically take track position and hoping all of the soft runners have to pit before they change to any form of wet tyre. Monaco, very, very tricky circuit. Now, when you get to changeable conditions on Monaco, you've got to get the call right. If you don't get that call right, you could be in a world of pain, because being on soft, on these slick tyres when it's wet, it's too much chance of sliding into the barrier and causing yourself more pain than already given to you by staying out too long, as Ivan leads them up to the grid, ready for the start here of the Invictus Racing League Formula 2 for round 8 at the jewel of the calendar, Monaco. This is brought to you in partnership with Grid Rival and Nelco Hall, and in partnership with gridfinder.com. The drivers are lined up, we are ready to go. The 5 red lights come on, and we are green at Monaco for 39 laps. Who's got the best getaway? It looks like Ivan got away well. Ginger Tiger immediately making a move for second place, straight ahead of Smoke, so that's a good start for him. So Ivan leads, Smoke behind, Cool manages to retain place. Further behind you have the 2 Red Bulls of JSP and Joe Hamster, Keza in 7th, Nitrogash in 8th, Kuipers battling a little bit with Simon Palmer in 9th. Mr. Sten is down to 11th. Oh, big dive bomb for Kuipers. I say dive bomb, he's gone for a lunge, and that's caused damage to his front wing, and I don't think Nitrogash will be too happy about that one. Contact made into Mirabeau. I think Kuipers is going to struggle now. He's got half a wing. I don't know what the damage is to Nitrogash's car, but Simon Palmer through the tunnel side by side with Kuipers into the Nouvelle Chicane. Job done, and a big lunge from Mr. Sten, and he's now got front wing damage. Mr. Sten just launching it. MV Bull has retired. He has crashed out of the Nouvelle Chicane in the Haas. Lap 1, we have our first retirement. And as you can see, a raft of people coming in the pits already. Nitrogash obviously picked up damage as well in that little collision. Meanwhile, up up front, Ivan has a 1.6 second gap. He has broken DRS already. Not that it really makes much difference here at Monaco. Smoke is right on the tail of Ginger Tiger, and he's bringing Cool with him. 2 Red Bulls just behind. This is where it starts to not get stale, but it's going to get very tight and close. As we've seen before, drivers have made mistakes already in terms of trying to make overtakes work, just being a little too late on the brakes, having contact, causing damage to their own cars. Through the swimming pool complex. The number 20 machine. Oh, the Smoke's just clipped the wall. I think he's got away with it. Just about getting away with that one, though. He doesn't want to do that too much, otherwise he will break the front wing. And he's in a good position, his Smoke here. Just behind the championship leader. DRS enabled as we head on to lap number 3. Further behind, Keza's on the back of Joe Hamster. Russman with the fastest lap of 1:13.406 down in 9th place. He is on the mediums. Is he the first person on the mediums? Yes, he is the first person on the mediums, so got to watch out for those 3 guys, 9th to 11th. Kuipers has a 5-second penalty so far. That'll be for speeding in the pit lane. That's your positions gained or lost, and the biggest winner is Russman. He's gone up 5 places from what was 14th to 9th. On board with Keza as we head into the Nouvelle Chicane. That's what he's got behind. He's got his teammates. Cool. Substantially closer to Smoke than Smoke is to Ginger Tiger. Does have the DRS though as we head on to lap 4. Ooh, and Simon Palmer has managed to get past his teammate of Keza. Whether that was orchestrated, maybe Simon Palmer feeling he's got a little bit more pace than his teammate, we shall see. Maybe they've done the swap to try and go after the Red Bulls. The bright pink purpley helmet of Simon heading into Lowe's. into Portier, and you can definitely tell Simon pulling away from Keza, so I believe this is probably a tactical switch between the Mercedes to try and interfere with Joe Hamster and JSP. Keza having a big sign out of the swimming pool instead. That's probably where he's done it, but nonetheless, Simon he's not really catching Joe Hamster. Joe Hamster is on the back of his teammate JSP. Those two probably just working together, making sure they don't do anything silly. We have a yellow. That is for Tarak. He's gone round to the second part of the swimming pool. No front wing for number 37. He's going to have to come in the pits for that one. So that is a bit of a race killer for the Ferrari driver. And he's actually decided to call it a day after just 4 laps of racing and a broken front wing. So points not really coming thick and fast out for Ferrari, because Smoke only in 3rd at the moment, and he's got the Alfa Romeo cool just behind him. Ivan has a 3-second gap right now as they head into the Nouvelle chicane. These three now going to start fighting over second. Who's on board with cool because he's got a nice front row seat here between this battle. One Smoke getting a little bit twitchy out of the swimming pool. Through Raskas, Anthony Notes, Ginger Tiger. I would say he's probably not worried right now. It's going to take something a little bit special here for Smoke to get right on the back. Possibly try a little bit of ERS usage. You can see on the bottom there of Cool's steering wheel, he's got a lot of ERS. He is not really deploying anything. And then you compare it to Smoke, he's only got about 60 and a bit percent. Ginger Tiger around about the high 80s, I would say there. Kuipers is in the pits once again, probably for another front wing. And a few spots of rain are here. In fact, Kuipers and Mr. Sten have gone for really early pit stops here, and it's not helped Mr. Sten. It's too early. It's way too early for intermediate tyres. Yeah, none of the leaders coming in. It's too early. The track is not wet. Give it another lap or two and it might come to the intermediates, but right now it's too dry. Simon Palmer, Russman in the pits. He's going on to intermediates. He thinks now is the time. I think it's just a lap too early. Russman, Simon Palmer, Dave gone intermediates. Nitrogash, what's he doing? Nitrogash is staying out on the medium, so he doesn't think it's quite time yet. DRS has not been disabled. Normally that's the good indicator of when that when the change really is. Into the Nouvelle chicane. It's definitely raining. It's not raining hard enough. You can tell that because Nitrogash is catching Russman at a rate of knots. They enter lows, the two McLarens. Mr. Sten now has a 3-second time penalty for multiple track infringements. And I think, unfortunately for Mr. Sten and Kuipers, probably everyone who's pitted this early, they have probably just messed up just a touch here. And you can see there, Russman didn't have the grip into the Nouvelle chicane. Joe Hamster has come in for intermediates. I'm still not convinced it's time yet. And Mr. Sten has unfortunately retired from the session. He's come into the pits, calling it a day. Probably knows it's the race has gone away from him, but You never know, because there is the easy chance of a safety car in Monte Carlo. I suppose it was one for Tarak when he spun it. Ginger Tiger though, still holding on to that second place. Keza, what's happened to Keza? He spun it out of Portier on the soft compound tyre. So the Mercedes driver losing a couple of places there. I want to see an outside shot. It's starting to get wetter now. Is it now time? Yeah, it's time now, and Keza gets a 3-second penalty there. Now is the lap to do it. Here comes Ivan. Ginger Tiger's in. Smoke is in. Cool is in. JSP, yep, he's coming in now. So now is the changeover point. The question is, where will Joe Hamster feed out now? Because he's had about half a lap of the right conditions. Whoa, he's almost nicked the walk on the way out. So here comes Joe Hamster. He's going to go a couple of places here. He's up into 5th, up into 4th, up into 3rd. He's past Ginger Tiger, but Ginger Tiger has the shorter route out of the pit lane. Doesn't get ahead, clips the wall. Lucky not to take any damage, but Joe Hamster, he got it right. He's up into 3rd. Although I would say possibly Ginger Tiger maybe a new front wing, because he went in ahead of Smoke. He's come out about 5 seconds behind. So I suggest maybe the Aston Martin had a bit of front wing damage. And obviously the game automatically puts you onto auto for the front wing change. But that would also mean that Cool would have had a new front wing as well. So I don't know whether the Ferrari boys are just rapid at the pit stop, but Joe Hamster's made a great little undercut. The question is now, will the rain continue to then end up on the wet tyres? We are only on the intermediates as we head through the swimming pool complex. Russman, a 3-second time penalty now for track infringements. And oh, Ginger Tiger into the wall. Oh, that's going to be up. Just lit it up. The back went one way, went the other. Front wing off. That is another pit stop for the championship leader. And he is going to struggle around these 2 miles of circuit. Place is just being lost and lost. He's going to be last, I think. Oh, he's almost running through, running right on the barriers. Not ideal though for the championship leader. He is going to be out of the points with no front wing. So, where are we looking now? We're looking at Keza, I think. Still be out on Keza. Quite close. Has Keza got a good run out of the Nouvelle Chicane? No, he has not. The Williams just about staying ahead. Into the wall goes the Williams, clipping it with the front end. Apparently, Marines is just saying, cut a corner, rather than giving you a warning, he just gives you a 3-second time penalty. Which is not going to be ideal in these conditions, especially if you're fighting the car a little bit. And still just hanging on at the moment. Keza just behind. Cool is now within a second of Joe Hamster. I would say Joe Hamster is losing time to Smoke quite rapidly here. Ginger Tiger finally makes it back to the pits. I mean, the big question is, will he get out ahead of Simon? I think he will do. He should come out behind Kuipers. Simon having a little bit of a nightmare race now after that really early pit stop. I think alternatively as well, he's also had to come in for another stop for a front wing. Whoa, a big moment into the wall for Still Biao. He loses it on the first part of Portier, clips the wall on the second part, and that allows Keza through. Keza very patient in the Mercedes, waiting for the mistake, and it does come at Portier. So, Keza up to 7th, still in 8th. Keza just 5.5 behind Tadeli now. Question is, can he catch that up? Meanwhile, this is a developing battle between Joe Hamster and Cool 132 to JSP in the pit. I can only assume that is yet front wing change for him. Oh, Joe Hamster's almost lost it, going down towards Mirabeau. Just about keeps it in check. The Alfa Romeo not allowed the chances. A couple more drivers get 3-second penalties. It's thinking of Simon and Kuipers. But Joe Hamster very lucky to keep that Red Bull in a straight line. Down to the Nouvelle chicane, just 6/10 of a second in it. Into the back. Oh, this time Joe Hamster does clip the wall a little bit harder, but I think once again he's just about gotten away with it. Over the curb at the swimming pool, Raskas. Not quite a move on there for Cool, but he'll look to set one up possible. Oh, was that a bit of contact? Joe Hamster didn't get away with that contact at the back. And it's a new front wing for the Red Bull. Now, it doesn't look like there's any damage on the front of the Red Bull, but quite clearly enough damage to affect the handling, and that's an interesting thing. Joe Hamster has gone on to wet compound tyres. Now, he got the switched intermediates correct. He blinked at the right time there. Now he's blinked to first onto the wet compound. This could be quite interesting. What tyres is Still Biao putting on? He's going back out on a set of intermediates after a change of front wing. I mean, it does look quite wet. We'll keep an eye on Joe Hamster. But I must admit, I'm not convinced it's quite wet enough yet. In fact, he is losing time to Keza right now, who's on the intermediates. So we're keeping an eye on that gap. It's double up to 11.2. So I think Joe Hamster probably the wrong call on this occasion. So Palmer has decided. Oh, I say he's decided. He's not decided. He's actually crashed. We're going to go on board with smoke because we should be able to see the car at Casino Square. There he is. Into the Wood Casino. Surely that must be a safety car. How is this not a safety car right now? He's on the exit of Casino Square. Joe Hamster's actually been overtaken by Russman here. So this full wet's not working out. That's amazing. No safety car at Casino Square for Simon. And we continue to race on to lap number 14. Joe Hamster just has no grip. He's into the wall once again. Joe will want to be hoping that the rain comes down slightly heavier to see if he can get himself back into this race, because he is just hemorrhaging time right now being on the wets. Meanwhile, Keza has managed to catch up to Delhi. Nitrogas is also getting onto the back of his teammates of Russman. I would expect a probable switch between these two, being that Nitrogas is higher up in the championship standings right now and quicker. And they're not going to do it before to back. So the question is Russman going to make him work for it, or is he going to let him go? Or are we going to have a McLaren inter-team battle on our hands as Nitrogas doesn't quite get the swimming pool correct, but he'll get away with it. Oh, both McLarens drifting out of Raskas. If they were going to switch, Joe Hamster back in the pits. I'm certain for a set of intermediates, yes. The gamble did not pay off, and he's now cost himself an extra pit stop of time. So unfortunately, Joe Hamster, 12th and currently last, running on the circuit. Ginger Tiger down in 11th. He's got to still be able just ahead, and you see the conditions are just horrible. It's almost like the conditions where it's wet, but it's just not fully wet, so you don't quite get the full ability of the intermediate tyres here. It's almost like a little bit greasy. It's wet, but also quite greasy at the moment, so it's why the cars just don't have the same sort of grip you'd expect them to have, even on this intermediate tyre. Renz is absolutely correct about Joe Hamster. He has cost himself very much a podium place. Nitrogash has spun it at the Nouvelle Chicane. Oh, and this is going to become a bit of a traffic jam. He's got no front wing, so he'll be making another pit stop. The problem is, oh, he's almost into the wall again, and Kuiper is having to dive underneath him. Even though he is going quite slow, or into the wall, and that's going to cost Steele, who runs into the back of him, and that is front wing damage for the Williams. The question is, did Ginger Tiger get involved? It doesn't look like he did. He's going to carry on, still into the pits for a new front wing. That is incredibly unlucky. And Nitro's decided he's going to try the wet tyres. He thinks it's time. I'd still disagree. I mean, the cars are definitely sliding around a bit, but they're not being awful. I mean, we haven't seen much of this man though. Ivan Belov, 44. He's kind of just been running away with this one. 11 seconds in the lead. Just having a casual Sunday drive up the front. I don't see Nitrogash's gamble really paying off here. He's 17.7 behind Joe Hamster, who's just gone to a set of fresh intermediates. And the time is balancing. I'll tell you what. Nope, he's gone up to 18 seconds, so that confirms the theories that it's just not wet enough for wet tyres. Steele is starting to catch up to the back of Nitro as well, so we'll keep an eye on that gap. Meanwhile, we're with Keza and Tadeli, and we have a yellow flag. That is for Nitrogash, who has spun out of the Nouvelle Chicane this time and has broken his front wing again. Those wet tyres really not working. Fastest lap currently belongs to Russman on a 1:13.4, and no one's getting that one anymore, being in the wet conditions. So if you can stay in the top 10, that's an extra point for the McLaren driver. As you can see here, that's who caps the leader, Ivan Belov. He will be approaching Joe Hamster sooner rather than later. I'll tell you what, JSP is on the back of Russman here, into Raskas. Oh, the Red Bull just skates away from him through Anthony Notes, over that little crest that makes the back end go light on the throttle. Unfortunately, he's not going to get a run now. probably until Kuiper. I will just check up the tyre just in case he changes. No, he's going on to intermediates. JSP looking to the inside of Mirabeau. That's a little bit brave. Nitrogash has retired. That's because he has crashed. That is not the ideal place to crash your car. That's at Lowe's hairpin. And once again, no safety car. Weird place. I mean, he's basically Nitrogash has just come out of Mirabeau there. He's probably lit the rears up on the exit of it, and it's just snapped on him. It's gone one way, gone the other, and end up in the wall. Oh, JSP. Speaking of ending up in the wall, JSP ending up in the wall there. I don't know if that's damaged his front wing, because that was a little bit of a heavy impact for the Red Bull. I don't know, it's hard to tell because the wing still looks intact, but the car doesn't look exactly nice to drive. Meanwhile, Kez is still on the back of Tadelli. Trying to shape of a move anywhere he can right now. 19 laps we are on, 18 in the book. And Tadelli just about doing enough. Kez has a really bad exit through Portier. He's lost him a lot of time there as Kuipers now gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. JSP has oh, that's not even what it says. Still BL. JSP has crashed at Mirabeau. His car will still be there by the time we get here with Smoke's car. I'm guessing he's just gone straight on. No, he's disappeared. And Kuipers is now retired. I think Kuipers is just having a really bad day in general there. Keza back on the back of Tadelli. Obviously the AI will control Kuipers' car until it stops on a safe place to retire. So we are down to 9 drivers. So as long as you finish now, you've won yourself some points. Sector 1 and 2. That's for Kuipers' slow car. He'll probably put off at Mirabeau, I would suggest, as the next safe place. MV Ball has left the session there. Yeah, there you go. Kuipers' car stopped at Mirabeau. So this is your only battle on track right now, and it's between the Mercedes of Keza and the Haas of Tadelli for 4th. You're nearly at 50% attrition for this race. 16 starters, 9 remain. And we're just over the halfway mark of this race, so not the ideal situation, shall we say. So that's 7 returns, so that's roughly 1 every 3 laps right now. We're going through the field, but Keza, he's got to focus on the job at hand here. He may well be in 5th, but he can see 4th. He's right in front of me. He's been there for the last 10 laps. But he just can't. The biggest thing for him, he needs to get a good run out of Portier. If he can get a good enough run out of Portier, he might be able to get him into the Nouvelle Chicane. And here we go, up into Portier we go. Oh, this time he has got a semi-decent run, better than before, but he's still losing time to Tadelli out of that. I wonder if Tadelli's just using a little bit of ERS through there. Just enough ERS at the moment for Tadelli to keep behind the Mercedes. And this will be frustrating for Keza, because I suspect he knows he's probably a little bit quicker. But he just can't find the gap. through Raskas into Anthony Notes. Yeah, well, Jordan, yeah, if you're just joining us, we started off dry and it's gone to wet conditions. We've had nearly 50% of the field have retired. And we still have 18 laps remaining of this Grand Prix at the Jewel of F1 at Monaco. And what you're watching at the moment is the only battle on track right now, although I say that, Ginger Tiger is closing in on the McLaren of Russman, so we'll keep an eye on that one because that could be one to watch. Just half a second going into back. You just get the sense of the dirty air coming off the back of Tedeli's car is just causing Keza enough issues from mid-corner here. Oh, he's just clipped the wall. I think just about getting away with it for the Mercedes driver. Russman has suddenly lost a lot of time and Ginger Tiger passed him, so he picks up another 3-second penalty. Let's just have a look at this. So it's 3 seconds for Tedeli, 6 for Keza, 6 for Russman. Oh, as Russman goes into the wall at the back. And there goes another front wing to add to the collection of front wings. And to add insult to injury, that's Russman out a lap down in this race, with a bonus 3-second penalty, so he's up to 9, so... But he knows... He'll know that as long as he finishes, he's got some points, so... Keza 6/10 away from the Haas as we head into the Nouvelle Chicane once again. Russman back out on track and just 2.4 ahead of Steele. Oh, big slides for Tedeli. And Keza had to really back out of that one to not run into him. But Keza's... Oh, big slide, big moment. Has he caught it? Yes, he has. That is some driving. That's a great save from Keza. That was almost destined to go wrong. Amazingly saves it and is still only 1.7 behind Tedeli, so he's still got a chance here at the top 4. Has Keza. I believe and the lap cars do ghost, especially around here. Probably a wise idea. Don't want a backmarker ruining your race, especially for Ivan. He's still 10 seconds up the road from smoke. He's basically dominated this race from start to present. I mean, who I wonder. He's got the most stops so far. I mean, Kuipers and Nitro have 4 stops each. Johamster and Steele, 3 stops each. Obviously, Johamster trying the wets, didn't work for him, and right now I think he'll be in the podium spots. But your biggest gainer right now is Tedeli, who's gone up 8 places so far. Russman's gone up 6, and Steele up 4. So those are your biggest movers. Ginger Tiger obviously started in 3rd place. He's in 6th currently. He is currently 26.1 behind this battle of Tedeli and Keza. And the Nouvelle chicane. You just see Keza gradually nipping the time back away from Tedeli. It's a good result for Tedeli because he is classified as a reserve on the tables. He's qualified 12th, currently in 4th. Well, that's interesting. Keza in the pits for a new set of intermediates. I would assume they are new anyway. Yes, they are. He's definitely going to come out ahead of Ginger Tiger. So, is he trying to initiate the undercut here? Keza basically probably saying, I'm quicker than you, than Tedeli. Let's get some clean air and actually make use of the pace. And 18.8 is the gap now between Tedeli and Keza. So what Keza is hoping is that he's got enough pace in him that he can perform an undercut. He's got enough speed to perform the undercut on Tedeli here, and that is providing that Tedeli does actually pit. Because if Tedeli... Oh, big slide for Keza through Portier. That's not what he was looking for. That's not how you go quicker than your rivals. I mean, it is spectacular to watch, but not the way you need to be driving the car right now. Tedeli does pit, so Tedeli immediately covers this. So that says to me that the intermediates will not last to the end of the Grand Prix. We will have pit stops from those at the front. Where does Tedeli come out? Tedeli, yeah, I wouldn't say he's miles ahead, but in fact, actually he's behind, so Keza has got the undercut here. Keza has made the undercut work. He's almost binned it this time. Oh my word. He's gone one way, gone the other. Amazingly, he's not hit the wall. And once again, Keza has a miraculous save out of Saint Devot. He's making a bit of a habit of this as the Mercedes driver. But he's got the undercut done. Now he has to pull 3 seconds on Tedeli. He needs to show that he is that much quicker now. Because no one has to remind him that he's got 3 seconds more worth of penalties over Tedeli. So he has to be 3.001 seconds ahead of Tedeli come the checker flag. And make that 6 seconds ahead of Tedeli as he picks up another track infringement penalty. So his day's just got that little bit harder. The next question really is, can Ginger Tiger start to make any inroads to Tedeli? If Ginger Tiger can start to reel in Tedeli, now the only problem that Ginger Tiger and Joe Hamster will have right now will be the tyres, because as Russman picks up another 3 seconds for himself. See, Ginger Tiger now on 17 lap old intermediates, Joe Hamster's 13. Now we don't really know how long these intermediates will last for. Because you can be a second quicker than someone per lap, but as soon as your tyres have worn away and the guy ahead of you who's on the fresher rubber still has that grip. Doesn't matter if you're a second lap quicker or not, you will start to lose time because of the lack of grip. But for now, it looks like Ginger Tiger is slowly taking time away from Tedeli, who's already 3.5 behind Keza. So half the job done here for the Mercedes driver. So let's show the top three whilst no one's really having a battle too much in the moment. Here is your leader, Ivan Belov. Looking pretty comfortable here at Monaco. I don't think many people would hear the words that Ginger Tiger has been lapped by the leader of the race, and Tedeli is next on the list. I think we could have everyone bar the top three finishing at least one lap down as Ivan just gets a little bit squirrely out of Lowe's hairpin. Well, here is Smoke. He's catching up to the back of Joe Hamster at the moment to put him a lap down against the second place driver. Number 28 on the side of the Ferrari. He's driven well, has Smoke. He's probably known early on in this race that he wasn't going to win this race, because Ivan just took off like a scolded cat in the early stages. So he's driven sensibly, not picked up any damage, and now he's reaping the rewards of being 19-20 seconds up the road from Cool, and in no man's land really, in second place, in very safe second place. You want Cool? He had a podium last time out. He's looking good for a podium this time out. He is currently 50, well, nigh on 50 seconds ahead of Keza, so he's got about 2 pit stops in hand. And he's looking very cool, calm and collected, you could say, in the Alfa Romeo. So Ivan's actually lost a couple of seconds. I'm just trying to work out. He hasn't caught Tedeli. So maybe just a slide for our leader. Keza currently 4th at the moment. Tedeli in 5th. He's actually come up to lap Russman. Ginger Tiger 6th. Joe Hamster is in 7th. So Russman in 8th. And still BL. He's still going. He's currently in 9th. Remember, these drivers, as long as they finish, they've all scored points here today. And that is the key. That is a key element to this Grand Prix. Having the patience, when it does go wrong, just having the patience, sticking it out, let others make those mistakes. And it's paying off for Still and Russman. Even though they're not going to score massive points, it's still more points than those who are back in the paddock watching the race rather than racing in it. How will I fare tomorrow? To be honest, mate, I have no idea how I'm going to fare in F3, as that's still allowing Smoke and Joe Hamster through. No idea how I'm going to fare. I mean, it depends on what conditions there are. It's going to be quite interesting. I'm hoping for a top 10, to be honest, in tomorrow's race, but one can only see tomorrow. I mean, hopefully we don't get conditions like this where it's changeable and you can just see the cars. Not very happy in these sorts of conditions right now. But hopefully a top 10 will be quite nice tomorrow. Currently on board with your championship leader so far, which is Ginger Tiger. He is reeling in Tedeli at a rate of knots now. Ivan has lost another chunk of time, probably maybe distracted from Tedeli in terms of... See, even though the cars are ghosted, you still get that little bit of distraction. when you're going to overtake them, so you can just take your eye off the ball just a touch. Let everyone by at the start. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Just qualify at the back and hope you don't get caught up in anything. But yeah, this is interesting from Ginger Tiger. 1.5 away from Delhi. The question is, especially Monaco, it's one thing to catch someone, it's an entirely different ball game to actually overtake them. Smoke is that gap now 8.2, 8.3. Not that I would be concerned if I was the AlphaTauri of Ivan, but you certainly don't want to keep making those mistakes, allowing Smoke to start clipping a bit of time out of you here, there and everywhere. Tadeli now almost under a second in front of Ginger Tiger. Crosses the line and the Aston Martin. That's the view behind, it's a very wet one. 1, 2 for these guys. Lap number 33. It's actually lap 34 for Ivan. Tadeli and Ginger Tiger a lap down. Into Mirabeau and Lowe's. Just a little bit squirrely coming out of Portier. So nothing on the screen, just watch this Aston Martin. Through the swimming pool complex. A little bit wide there from Ginger Tiger, but you can see he's just trying to square the corner up so that he can get on the throttle earlier. And it's quite a key thing in the wet, because obviously with less grip you can just boot the throttle whilst you're still turning. I mean, you can't really do that in the dry F1 car, but certainly not in the wet, so you have to try and wait for the car to straighten up before you can really get on the throttle. So squaring the corner up is Ginger Tiger through that last one, but it's quite hard to do everywhere else almost as we go into Lowe's, with the Haas just ahead of us. Oh, and Smoke has a 5-second penalty for corner cutting, and he's in the pits. What has happened to Smoke? But what's actually happened to Russman? Because he's had a moment. Tadeli has got a 3-second time penalty, but Smoke, 5 seconds for cutting the track. I can only think he's taken the front wing off his car and getting back to the pits. When I say that, he's not actually been... Yeah, he must have served it in that pit stop actually. Yeah, I can only imagine he's taken the front wing off. Ended up with no turning, so he's ended up cutting one of the chicanes by a big amount. And the game's going, here's a 5-second penalty for your troubles. But that does promote Cool up into second place. And with just 3 and a bit laps remaining, that's looking quite good for the Alfa Romeo driver. I mean, Ivan now 32-second advantage. That is huge. That basically means he's at one end of the circuit whilst everyone's at the other end. Yeah, it's a good example that Renz. I mean, the other example really you can have is Joe Hampster's right on the back of Ginger Tiger. I've only just realised that. The other example really is when Ricardo held on with gearbox troubles. He had gearbox issues, and he still held on to his position. I'm going to say in Monaco, one thing to catch someone, another thing to overtake him. And Ginger Tiger, I wonder if he's starting to feel the strain of 24 lap old intermediates right now, because he is... That car looks very slow, and he looks a bit timid coming out of the corners now. He can't get on the power like he wants to. Joe Hamster has a chance here. Into Saint Devote, if Joe Hamster gets a good enough run, I'd say he's not on a different enough line to take advantage. But if you can force Ginger Tiger onto a line he doesn't really want to take round here, we could actually see an overtake here in the Monaco Grand Prix. Could it be now? The answer is no. Thought Joe Hamster was going to look for some better traction out of Casino Square into Mirabeau. Couldn't quite get enough to warrant the move being done. Red Bull just squirrely a little bit out of Portier, which has meant he isn't really on the back of the Aston Martin heading towards the Nouvelle Chicane. See, Joe Hamster looks that little bit more happy in the Red Bull, but he does have time penalties. So Ginger Tiger doesn't have... this is the thing, Ginger Tiger doesn't have to actually fight with Tadelli. He doesn't have to fight with Joe Hamster. As long as he's with them, he'll claim the positions back, and I think that's a very wise move from Ginger Tiger. He's pretty much just allowed Joe Hamster through. I don't feel that Smoke is going to get the fastest lap. He might well be trying for it, but Joe Hamster's all over the back. Oh, now almost looked like a touch of contact. I'm not completely convinced though, but Joe Hamster from absolutely nowhere has found unbelievable grip on 22 lap old intermediates, and he's just absolutely flown by Tadelli. Something is working for that Red Bull. I mean, he's only got 3 seconds worth of penalties here, so he can keep this 5th place. If he can keep that sort of pace up, Ginger Tiger is through. Out of Portier, so something is... I think Tadelli's actually got has actually got a broken front wing here, because... yeah, I think he's very slow through the corners, actually. So whilst it doesn't look like it, Tadelli is definitely got wing issues here. Yeah, broken front wing that for Tadelli. So I think Joe probably didn't hit Tadelli. It was just Tadelli understeering wide. As we are now actually on the last lap of the race. Ivan has started the last lap. Yeah, going back to Smoke. Yeah, he may well be trying for fast lap. I don't think he's going to get it though, because the fastest lap is set by Russman on 1:13.4 on the medium compound tyres. It's dry conditions, and there's no way you're getting near that on a set of intermediates. If he does, that would be an incredible achievement. And right now, Joe Hamster is more than 3 seconds ahead of Ginger Tiger. So he's going to keep that 5th place at the moment. Meanwhile, we're going to go back to our race leader, because he is on the last lap. We haven't seen much of him. He's basically dominated this race from start to finish. He comes through Anthony Oates for the final time. It is going to be Ivan Belov, 44 in the AlphaTauri, who wins at Monte Carlo. A fantastic lights to flag victory. Russman comes across in 8th place. We'll try and keep in order on the track, because why not? I think that might be Joe Hamster. Yes, it is. Joe Hamster will take 5th place, even with penalties, because he's ahead of Ginger Tiger by 5.3 seconds, who will claim 6th. Great recoveries from both drivers. Tadeli is round. Still Biel's just finished in 9th. Meanwhile, Cool is going to keep his cool, and he's going to take 2nd place in the Alfa Romeo. Fantastic effort from him. 2nd for Cool. Smoke only 3.5. It was a valiant effort to recover, but it is going to be 3rd place for Smoke. To Delhi. He's going to come across the line for 7th, and points for himself. And Keza kept himself mainly out of most of the trouble, and he will take 4th place here. Keza crosses the line in 4th place. The game is going to decide that Russman88 is the driver of the day, probably because he's moved up so many places. But my driver of the day has got to go to Ivan. It was fantastic driving. By far, one of the best drives you're going to see in Monaco. Changeable conditions, didn't miss a beat, didn't hit a wall, just cracked on and got the gap. So he's going to be very, very happy with that one. We're going to try and get the drivers into the party for some interviews, you will have to bear with me. It will be a bit of blue screen for the minute. Quick go through the results. Ivan wins from Cool, Smoke, Keza, Joe Hamster, Ginger Tiger, Tadeli, Russman, and Still BL rounds out your finishers. JSP, Kuipers, Nitric Ash, Simon Palmer, Mr. Sten, Tirak, and MV Ball all retired from this session.